Hi, this is Reverend Sherri. I am the creator of the Metaphysical Bible Hangout, and we are back for another broadcast. We have been working with the widow with the oil with Elisha, and this is an exciting story. I love this. I'm actually developing a book around this. The working title is I Am My Own Miracle, which is also the name of this series. But I love this story, and it's so remarkable. And so tonight, we're going to be looking at the middle verses when she's actually dealing with the oil. Just by if this is your first time visiting the Bible Hangout, wanted to let you know that I am the senior minister of Up Church. Up Church is a Bible-based New Thought Christian church in the Los Angeles area. It was actually founded by the Reverend Dr. Della Reese-Lett. She is my spiritual mother. She's my teacher. And truly, when you hear me teach, you hear her, and you hear the things that I learned studying under her. Here's my PowerPoint. There we are. Okay, so this series we've been in since the beginning of June, and tonight is our third Thursday, and we'll conclude next Thursday with the final verse in this pericope of Scripture. This is our outline tonight. I got a couple of announcements. We'll do, our opening prayer. Then we'll look at just the specific verses and the metaphysics in those verses, and then we'll look at what it means to go and borrow vessels. And one important point about that is don't confuse oil for vessels. Sometimes we ask for oil when we really should be asking for vessels. And then how to increase your jar of oil. And I pulled out 4 things that the widow does that teaches us how to increase our own jar of oil, things that we can look at from her example. And then finally we close out with question and answer. If you want to follow along on the blog, you can visit at revsherri.com. Inevitably, I try to make them the same, but they're never the same because one is the written format and one is the visual format. And so, but definitely go and sign up because there are other things that I have coming down the pipeline that you definitely want to be a part of. And so go right over to revsherri.com and sign up for my newsletter. Plus, I'll give you a free spiritual toolkit. Okay, my new teleseminar. So I'm really excited about this teleseminar. It's called Prosper. It is a 7-week course. Now, here's the thing. I have some personal things that I have been working on to get ready in my life, and they have interfered with me launching the class. So I need to say that because I have promised, and it hasn't 100% happened just yet. And so, so I just wanted to let you know the course is coming. Thank you for being patient with me. I promise you it will be everything that I have talked it up to be. I'm really excited about it because the course itself is all about how to prosper, and we're going to talk about money. But we're going to look at it not just from just what do you do with your money, but how do you have the mindset to have the kind of money that you want in your experience. And of course, prosperity is far more than money. You'd never hear me give a talk, a sermon, or anything where I would talk about prosperity as money alone. Prosperity is health and wealth and happiness and joy and peace and good relationships and satisfying work and creativity. It's all of those things. But I have found that in general, where people fall down in terms of prosperity is in terms of their money. Even when they have what is quote unquote a lot of money, they're still not at peace with it. And so they're always afraid that they're going to lose it in some way. So this course is really about how to have some financial peace with the money that you have, however much money that is. And if you want more money, of course, this course is going to address that. And if you just want to be at peace with the money that you have, this is also the course for you. So I'm very excited about it. I look forward to sharing it with you. And I just thank you so much for your patience while I get my personal life in order because, life happens. And it just seems to have been happening in the last month or so. The scripture for this 4-part series is John 14:12. Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact, will do greater works than these. So right where you are, if you would just begin to relax. and put yourself in a state of mind of openness. We're going to be looking at this incredible woman in a way that I don't think that she has been looked at before. And so I just ask that you open at the top to receive what the Spirit has for you about this woman. Thank you, God, for guiding this conversation. Thank you for structuring this evening. You know the work that I have done to prepare for this evening, but I turn this class over to you, and I ask that you have your way with us. Let the perfect class emerge. Let the perfect session come forward now. And I release this prayer in the name and through the power that is in the name of Christ Jesus. And let it be so, and so it is. Jumping right into the verse, tonight we're only looking at verses 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so each bullet point is a different verse. So verse 3 says, he said, go outside, and he is referring to Elisha, borrow vessels from everywhere, from all your neighbors, empty vessels and not just a few. Verse 4, then go in and shut the door behind you and your children and start pouring into all these vessels. When each is full, set it aside. The red letters, just so you know, are the words that you can find in either the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary or you can find them in the Revealing Word. Those are the two collections that you want to have in your library if you're doing metaphysical interpretation. And just very simply, the words that that are that are in the dictionary, what you do is you take the definition and you literally place it back in the place where the word was in Scripture, and it opens up the Scripture for you. So what I've highlighted for you are the red words that are in the Revealing Word and or the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. So verse 5, so she left him and shut the door behind her and her children. They kept bringing vessels to her, and she kept pouring. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, bring me another vessel. But he said to her, there are no more. Then the oil stopped flowing. So I want to look at a couple of definitions. The first two I gave last week, and I just want to remind you of them. When you see, women in Scripture always represent the feeling nature. So whenever you're looking at a woman in Scripture, you're always looking at some type of feeling, some type of emotion. The widow, in this case, she is the consciousness that believes in the separation from God or the source of being. That is the widow state of mind. So the thing is that all of us have been the widow. All of us have been the person that has that has felt that we were absent or separated or kept apart from our good. When you feel separated from your good, when you feel separated from God, you can think of those two things synonymously. Your good is your God and God is your good. When you feel separated from that, you are in a widow state of consciousness. Because in truth, you can never be separated from your good. You can never be separated from God. You are ever and always connected. In fact, you are so indissolubly entwined with the Spirit and the power of God that it is hard to say where you begin and God ends and where God begins and you end. It's all one. And we have language, and the challenge with our language is that our language creates an image in our minds that makes us think that somehow we are separate, but we are not separate. And in order to talk about our experience with God, it's almost as if we've got to separate, in language only, separate so that we can say, okay, God did this. But it is the God presence in you that does it. Jesus said it this way, the Father in me does the work. Well, the Father in you does the work. So ever and always you are connected. All right. Elisha. Elisha in this story represents the spiritual I am. So what is happening is that the widow state of consciousness, that state of mind that believes itself to be separated from its good in whatever way, goes to I am for redemption. This is how we're meant to handle those areas in consciousness where we believe that somehow we are lacking. We are meant to take them to the I am and ask for direction or claim direction in the way that this widow does. The vessels represent the life centers throughout the body that have been depleted through wrong use of mental powers and functions. I'll read that again. The empty vessels are the life centers throughout the body consciousness. Yeah, I should say it that way because I skipped over consciousness intentionally before. The empty vessels are the life centers throughout the body consciousness that have been depleted through wrong use of mental powers and functions. So first of all, body consciousness. Your body is more than just the flesh and blood that surrounds the organs that you call your body. So the body consciousness is your house, it's your car, it's your relationships, it is your job, it's your children, everything that is part of your world is part of your body consciousness. So when it says that these are the life centers that, hold on, I'm moving the definition, like I said, throughout the body consciousness that have been depleted, the negative thoughts that you think cost you more than just your than just creating negative things in your life. They drain your energy. If you sit and take a worrisome thought, whatever that is, you can just pick one. If you sit and take a worrisome thought and you think it enough, you will begin to feel tired. And as you continue in that worrisome train of mind, you literally drain off the energy of God that is for your use. And so the vessels, the empty ones, are essentially her gathering up the places in her life where she has submitted to wrong thinking. Wrong thinking is costly. It costs you more than just the things that it creates. It drains you of your energy. We think that we get older and so therefore we get weaker. But the truth is that we have energy deposited along the way in unforgiveness, and beyond unforgiveness, we have energy deposited along the way in terms of wrong thinking, because it could be unforgiveness, but it could also just be a wrong thought where somehow you believed yourself separated from God, and so therefore all of that time that you believed yourself separated from God, that has to be redeemed. That vessel has to be filled, and it's got to be filled with the oil. So there is some reparation work that's happening here with it. And your mental powers, when you misuse them, you cost yourself the energy of God. Now, on a very real level, that matters in terms of like your business. So when you think the wrong thoughts in terms of your business, whatever you may be a Herbalife distributor like I am, you may be a Mary Kay distributor, or maybe you might have just you sell your things at like you have to rent a booth at like a fair or something like that. Those wrong thoughts eat up your creativity for your business. You think, oh, I don't feel like making all these phone calls to prospect, right? But you wasted that thought a long time ago, that energy a long time ago in wrong thinking. 80% of success is psychology. 20% is mechanics. 80% is getting your inner game right. And what the widow had was a weak inner game. She had been depleted through wrong thinking. How do we know that? Because she felt like she had nothing but a jar of oil. And there is no such thing as having nothing. Even the homeless person on the street has something. Everybody has something. And you cannot get from nothing to something. You must always begin with something. So you must come, the scripture says, to them that have, more shall be given, and to them that don't have, shall be taken away. Because consciousness requires you to have something in order to produce something. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I feel like I'm using a whole lot of cliches here. I got some folks that are trying to get in. I'm going to try to add someone. I see that Judy's trying to get in. We might be full, y'all, so those 10 seats might be taken up. Ray says, then the full vessels would represent consciousness of, absolutely. The full vessels absolutely represent a consciousness of plenty, 100%. But are you getting this? I want to make sure this is landing, because these vessels, the places in our lives where we feel empty because we have thought the wrong thoughts, and it has drained our energy literally right out of our bodies. Now, here's the thing. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. So that energy that you have drained out of your body, you can bring it right back in. And so this is what's happening with the vessels when she goes in and she concentrates on pouring the oil in the vessels. Neighbor. Every soul that dwells upon the earth, including you, is your neighbor. Every soul that dwells upon the earth, including you, is your neighbor. So now, metaphysically, whenever you're looking at something in Scripture, every aspect of that story is happening inside of you. So the vessels are inside of her, the neighbors are inside of her. So she's going to all of the life centers that are that have been depleted and bringing them in and pulling those vessels into her consciousness, into her awareness of the plenty. So, and she's bringing them in to fill them with the oil of life, which she's been given. But this story works on a number of different levels. It doesn't just work on that level. It also works on the level in terms of your neighbors, going to your neighbors and borrowing vessels. The oil is what you have. The vessels it is the help that people give you, because inevitably your success is never, there's no such thing as a self-made person. Someone else is always a part of your story, even if they only come in for a part of the story. And they may come in as a teacher, they may come in as a business partner, they may come in as a friend, but however they come into the story and they contribute to your well-being. Your job is to figure out how not to ask them for oil, because the oil is what you're meant to produce. The oil is what you are responsible for. And they can't, and you know when you've made a faulty request, because you feel it and they feel it. It feels needy. It feels, you know when somebody has come to you and asked for oil, and it's like, I can't help you with that. I'll give this to you and you'll never be able to recreate it because you didn't have it in the first place. So we've got to be mindful that when we're asking of things from our friends, from our family members, that we are not asking for oil, but we are asking for vessels. Shut the door. Bringing the vessels into the widow's house and shutting the door symbolizes concentration. Concentration is the result of denial and affirmation based upon understanding of man's true being. Concentration. Now, I think we ought to teach concentration in school. I mean, I think it needs to be a subject, or at least needs to be like a semester. But it is, if you're going to build a business, if you're going to do anything in life, but let's say that you are interested in starting a line of shapewear, right? In order to get that thing off the ground, you're going to have to concentrate. You're going to have to block out the other distractions and focus in. But that same principle applies if you are, let's say, you find yourself in a financial bind. one of the things that happened to me, this was early, and I don't know if you guys know this, I've been starting businesses since I was 15. And so I am a serial entrepreneur. And my first business was buying blow pops from Sam's Wholesale Club and selling them for a quarter at my high school. But a business that I started right after college was a women's theater company called the Women's Ensemble Theater Company. And, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I just wanted a business. But it was successful. That was the great thing. It was, you know, I was too young to know what you don't know and what you're not supposed to be able to do. And so it was successful. We were written up in all the papers and selling out our shows, and it was remarkable. Well, we sold out the show, but we still ended up in debt. And one of the things that we had to do was to concentrate in order to get out of the debt. So we had to take our energy, our attention, our focus, and take it off of what was going wrong and focus on what we needed to do to solve the problem. Many times we cannot solve our problems because we never concentrate, and we're so distracted, especially when we get the pressure of life. And so you've got, you know, bill collectors calling, or you've got a deadline looming, and so you can't concentrate because in the back of your mind you're wondering if you're going to make it before that deadline hits. And what the widow, when you shut the door, what that symbolizes is that you are closing out all distractions. You are letting go of worrying about the deadline. And all you are doing is working with the solution that you have been given from Spirit. So her bringing the vessels into the house and shutting the door symbolizes concentration. And then this definition we gave last week, the oil represents the oil of life, that vital fluid that renews and reanimates the body in the regeneration process. So that oil, you're bringing the vessels in, and then you're pouring the oil of life. Now, the oil, let me be clear. So this story works on a number of different levels, right? So there's the oil that is whatever the thing is that's already in your house, that's your solution to whatever business challenge you've got or whatever financial challenge you've got, right? But this story also works in terms of what's happening inside of you. And the oil of life are the words that you speak. The oil of life, there are words that you speak that give life to you, and there are words that you speak that take life away from you. And so I am broke takes life away from you. I am rich gives life to you. I am health brings life to you. Ray says maybe a mini seminar on the art of concentration might be needed. It might be. It just might be. It's the deciding factor between success and failure. You've got to get that concentration right. It's fundamental to your inner game. One of the things I'm going to be talking about a lot, and we're going to work on in the next series, because I'm going to work on working with the law with Raymond Hollowell from the perspective of an entrepreneur, that the thing that makes the difference with entrepreneurs who succeed and those who don't is their inner game. It's not even the right strategy, because the right strategy and the wrong inner game will bring you failure. And the right inner game and the wrong strategy can help you course correct so that you can win. You still need the right strategy. You still have to get there. But the right inner game is going to help you get to the right strategy. Because when you're moving with the wrong strategy and you get the setbacks that come inevitably with the wrong strategy, they don't shut you down. They don't knock you off your feet. Or when they knock you down, you get back up. So mastering that inner game, it's the thing that you must concentrate on. You must give your attention to. I see Angela says she can't hear anything. How's everybody else? Are you guys hearing me? Let me know in the comments. Anybody else that we're missing that can't hear? Everything looks fine on my end. Okay. Okay, so Angela, it may be something on your end. This is recorded, so you'll definitely be able to go back and to listen to it. So that inner game is, I can't tell you how massive it is. It's the difference between success and failure. And when you don't get that inner game right, it derails everything. You could have the best idea. And think about this. How many times have you gone to start a business or start a venture or go in a new direction or try something new in your business, and you were all gung-ho when you got the idea, but when it came time to follow through with the execution, your voice, whatever that is, showed up. And all of a sudden, all of that enthusiasm that you have, where you were ready, running, and getting ready to just tackle this, whatever this challenge is, and all of a sudden the energy just wanes. Or let's say that you're working on your business. A lot of us, and you've got a main job, and then this is your business, is your side job, or your side thing, and so you get home from work and you're just too tired to do the work. You're too tired to pull it together. Well, what makes a difference between you getting some work done tired and you just saying, you know what, I'll pick it up tomorrow, it's the inner game. So what this widow is doing is that she is, pouring the oil, these are her words, she is speaking words that are giving life to her body. The body consciousness, not just the physical flesh and bone, but the body consciousness. Let me know if you have any questions on that. So go borrow vessels. So I said this earlier, don't confuse oil for vessels. Other people will be instrumental in the success of our businesses. Other people will absolutely be instrumental in the success of our businesses. We live in relation to one another. It is, even if, let's say, you are sole proprietor and it's nothing but your customers, it's still other people will be instrumental in the success of our businesses. But what we must do is to learn how to ask for vessels and not ask for oil. Many times when we go wrong, it is because we are asking for oil. The oil is the stuff that you work out. The oil is what you're meant to develop. And so you can't go to someone and ask for their oil. This comes up again. There's a parable, parable of the 10 virgins. I think we did this a while ago, but it is that there are 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins, and the one set of 5 brings enough oil, and the other set of 5 doesn't bring enough oil, and the ones that didn't bring enough ask the ones who did to give them some oil, and they're like, no, I can't help you. We got to use what we have for ourselves. That your supply, what you have. So your oil, so let's say in terms of like your business, and I see your question, Gina. Your oil in terms of your business is your product. It's the thing that is your thing, whether it's your greeting cards or your what's the word? Okay, so she says, I'm a coach and a trainer. Your oil is, and I happen to know that you're an executive coach. So your oil is the product that you sell to your to the customers. Your oil it's either the seminars, it's the consulting, it is the I don't know what your product line is, but it's all the things that you offer as far as your product line is concerned. The vessels are the help. But it is not that somebody has something that you don't have. The vessels are someone coming in to create an avenue for you to meet the president of Apple One Employment. Let's say I'm making this up, but that's not your oil. The oil is your business. The oil is what you're meant to take care of. That you're meant to take care of the product that you offer. So you're constantly, surveying your audience, your paying customers, people who are already paying you money, to make sure that, and asking for feedback on, if I could make this product better, what kinds of things should I be doing? If I could, what are some of the other problems that you have, in your business that, you know, things that you're wanting to solve, but you're constantly developing the product that you are offering. The vessels that's the outside help that comes. Now, there are people who are connectors, and so their oil is the connection, and their vessel is something else. So, but the main thing is to get clear on what is my essential product. What is the thing that I am offering that solves the problem for somebody else? Who am I the best solution for? Does that answer your question, Gina? And I could go on a little bit more about that if it doesn't answer your question. Yes, the vessels are the help to you, but the oil is your business, your responsibility. Let me say that because I'm using the same words in meaning different things. The oil is your responsibility, and you are meant to daily tweak the oil, daily work on what that product is. And you are constantly in communication with your paying customers, because your paying customers are evidence of where you can go, and they help you tweak what it is that you are offering so that you can begin to appeal to more customers. So you got to have oil. So it is, this used to happen to me in the entertainment industry, where someone would come and they would have they'd have a vessel and they'd want my oil, and they want credit for something that they haven't done. And they would come in and they'd say, well, you know, I want a producing credit because I introduced you to X, Y, and Z. And it's like, what? You want what? You haven't lifted one finger, you haven't done any work, and you're not connecting me to a relationship that makes this project happen. You're just connecting me to a relationship that makes the project a little bit more valuable, but it's not the relationship that makes the project happen. And so now you want, you know, all of this credit. You got to start as somebody who has something. It's so important to understand that you are not without resources. You are never stuck, because when you begin from the perspective of somebody who does not have something, it is impossible for you to end up with something. There is always an exchange that can be made, and you must figure out what that exchange is. Neville Goddard says it this way: ends run true to origins. That how you begin is going to tell you how you end. So when you begin from a place of not having, there's nowhere for you to go but a place of not having. Even if along the way you collect some things, eventually you'll end up in a place of not having. So you've got to correct the beginning. You've got to be mindful of the beginning and begin as if you have what you need. So 4 things that the widow teaches us about how to increase your jar of oil. 1, concentrate on the solution. Closing the door symbolizes shutting out every distraction. Now, your attention is your true and your only power. Wherever you place it, there too your power flows. Your attention is your true and only power. Many people fail not because they don't know how to, let's say, succeed, but they fail because they have their attention on the wrong things. They have their attention on their past failures, as instead of focusing on their past successes. There's a quote from Jack Canfield, and I put it in today's blog post that says, successful people maintain a positive focus in life no matter what is going on around them. They stay focused on their past successes rather than their past failures and on the next action steps they need to take to get them closer to the fulfillment of their goals rather than all the distractions that life presents to them. You've got to keep your attention on your past successes and the next steps that you need to take to get you closer to your goal. So what that you have been a distributor for Mary Kay and you have not, earned your pink Cadillac. I don't know if they give Cadillacs anymore, but they give pink cars still. So what that you had a thriving business and then you lost your entire team under you, and now you've got to build your organization back up. So what? What you want to concentrate on is the success that you have had, because focusing on what has gone away drains you of your power and your attention. The thing that you control is your attention, and you control where it goes. You decide where it gets placed. And sometimes we can get into a rut, an emotional rut, where our attention is always on what didn't go right and the business opportunity that we let slip through our fingers, or maybe we had to get a proposal in and we didn't turn it in on time, or we didn't give our best to that proposal. And so we'll spend all of our energy focusing on what we didn't do. And we think that we have to give our attention to it, but we are always in control of where our attention goes. And our attention is a magnifier. And here's the thing about the past. You can't change it. There is no changing the past. The only thing that you can do with the past is reframe it. That is the only thing that you can do with it. You cannot change it. You cannot go back and relive any moment in the past. What you can do is you can reframe a moment. So you can give a failure new meaning. And here's the thing, what you call it, that's what it becomes to you. That's what the scripture tells us. Thou shalt decree a thing, and so it shall be, and it shall be established for you. What you call it, so it shall become for you. So those past failures, when you reframe them, when you change the way that you are giving attention to them, you change what they are for you. So your only power is your attention. Even in this moment right now, whatever it is that you're focusing on, whatever it is that you're hearing or seeing, your attention is magnifying it. It's making it bigger than anything else. And that's also true with your current business situation, whatever it is that you're in. If you need more clients, I spoke to someone the other day, and they were saying they need more clients because otherwise they may have to basically, let the business go if they don't get that infusion of cash from more clients. And the thing is that your attention could be on the fact that you don't have enough clients, or your attention can be on what you need to do to get more clients. And you can't think about both at the same time, because two thoughts cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So you have got to choose. We fail when we divide our attention. Our work is to keep our attention only on the solution that we have been given. That's it. And this is what the widow shows us. What I love about this woman, because I'll get into this next week, I contend that she was an entrepreneur. She's got oil, she's got to go sell it. Isn't that what an entrepreneur does? You got some oil, that's a metaphor, and you got to go sell it. And you got to go sell it out on the open market. So anyway, what I love about reawakening our consciousness around the women in the Bible is that for so long we have thought of them as these women who could take care of themselves, but it is very, let's say she's a thinking woman. Don't you know, or don't you think that she knew that she could possibly sell that oil on the open market? Maybe she had tried. We don't actually know what she did before she got to Elisha. We don't know what she did that got her in the situation that she was in. It could be that you know, that her husband just died and things, right? And things went bad. But we don't know. There's no timeline that's given. So we don't know what she did. We don't know how many layers of command she went through to get to Elijah. Elijah's the head of the prophetic guild. Her husband was a member of the prophetic guild. We don't know how many lieutenants she had to move through until she finally got to Elisha to get some help. We don't know what things she tried to do to help herself before she came to Elisha. One of the things that's amazing about her, and we'll get to this in the next point, I'll go to it now, is that when she follows his instructions, she follows them to the letter. And that's what a student does. That's why I say she is a what I do. Oh, hold on, y'all. Gotta go back. That's what a student does. That when you have someone who is your student and they are mastering a lesson that you give them, they go and they carry it out to the letter. That's what a disciple is. And so I contend that she was not only the wife of a prophet, but that she was also a prophetess herself, and that she too was studying under Elisha. And the thing is that she carries out his instructions to the letter. She never gets distracted, which meant that she wasn't so broken in the first place. People who are broken have a weak inner game. Anything can throw them off. The fact that the creditors were coming, they could get the solution from Elisha and still not carry it out because they're too worried about the creditors coming. But she is able to block all of that out and concentrate on the solution. That's a woman with an inner game. There's no when you don't have an inner game, anything can get your attention. When your inner game is weak, you can't concentrate. Your mind is all over the place. And you flip-flop between positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. And so nothing ever gets done because you're just busy flip-flopping between positive and negative. But this woman follows his instructions to the letter. That's why I don't think that she was this destitute. I think that she had made some mistakes trying to work things out based on things that she had learned from Elisha, and finally got to a point where she just hit a block in the road. Like, I don't get what I'm not doing right, and let me go to him and appeal to him. Just saying. So the second thing to increase your jar of oil is that you've got to expect things to work out. And this widow demonstrates for us an attitude of expectancy. When you get insight from Spirit on your solution, follow it to the letter. Many times we get insight on our solution, but we half execute the solution because we don't trust that everything is going to work out. And what you want to do is work as if your request is fulfilled. Doubt kills execution. Doubt kills execution. So Gina says, how do you strengthen our inner game? Well, this concentration, practicing concentrating. But it's also what you say to yourself. It's those affirmations. I gave an affirmation last week that I picked up from Bob Proctor. It's a great affirmation that says, I am so happy and thankful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple channels and on a continuous basis. That's just one affirmation. But what the thing is that what affirmations are is they are a conscious use of self-talk. You're already talking to yourself all day. Already. Every moment of every day, there is a conversation happening in your head. Every moment of every day. Even when you're asleep. What affirmations and denials are about is getting ahead of those conversations, of that conversation that's already happening. So instead of just letting it, and what's it influenced by? It's influenced by things that you heard from family, from friends, things in the news, just the collective rate, what we call race consciousness, the consciousness of the world. You know, I was reading an article there's a blog of several authors, but a blog called Patheos, Patheos, and I don't remember the specific post, but there was an author who wrote about she and a friend, and they weren't necessarily New Thought, so I don't, because if she was, she would have known what she was saying. But when things would happen to people in their life that were, unexpected blows, she had a friend, I think another pastor, who would say, they would say to one another, life comes at you fast. Life comes at you fast. I think it was that. She had like one other little saying, but that was the one that like stuck. Life comes at you fast. And so whenever she would say that, she would say, whenever she would see a situation where somebody had like had an unexpected blow in life, that was the refrain, and they would kind of go back and forth. Well, guess what happened to her? Life came at her fast. And she got exactly what she had been affirming over and over and over and over again. It isn't just the things that we say aloud, it's also the things that we never say aloud that is just a running conversation underneath. Part of waking up spiritually is waking up to the conversation that you're already having with yourself. And the thing is that there's no turning off what you're saying to yourself. There's only managing what it is that you're saying to yourself. So the tools that we give you at Up Church and any of the other spiritual centers in the UFBL and Unity and Divine Science and Religious Science or Centers for Spiritual Living, they're tools for you to manage the conversation that you're already having with yourself. You already have an inner game. And so the affirmations, the denials, the prayer, the meditation, sitting in the silence, journaling, the things that I'm sharing with you, through the Bible Hangout, those are tools for you to get ahead of and get control of that inner conversation that's already happening. I'll say this since it came up in my thought. The best way to manage your inner game is through prayer. And let me explain what true prayer is. Most people think of prayer as what you do when you get in trouble. Let that go. Meaning, yes, if you get in trouble, pray for sure. True prayer is where you are in conscious contact with the Spirit. And what happens is that as you are in conscious contact with the Spirit, you cannot stay the same. The way that you truly change, that lasting change in your inner conversation, is through contact with God. Because you cannot come into contact with the Spirit and stay the same. Literally, the fire of Spirit burns off the error thoughts. So when you want to make a change in a particular area, let's say that you've been stuck with, you get to a certain financial level, financial inflow, or you've had trouble, let's say, reducing your expenses. And so even though you may be making, 6 figures from your business, you're spending right up to that 6 figures. And so there's never enough of an overflow for you to like actually grow and hire staff and, do the things that would turn your business from, a solopreneur to a business, right? There's something happening in your inner game that's supporting you staying in that state. And what you want to begin to do is pray about the conversation and how that conversation inwardly needs to change. And begin to speak to the Spirit within you about how to change that conversation. And then just listen, just listen for what that is. What new things do you need to say to yourself? I'll say this, okay, I'm going totally off my outline, so y'all forgive me. What you say to yourself controls what you notice. You don't notice everything. None of us do. None of us have the panoramic view. What controls what we see, even though we're each looking at the same thing, is what we're each individually saying to ourselves. So when you get control of the inner conversation, what you're getting control of is what you're noticing. So when you sit down, if think of somebody that I admire, let's think of the business problem that you have right now, whatever that is. If it's, need more clients, if it is, You need to be able to raise your prices with the clients that you do have. If it is, just needing to take action, like getting out of a state of inertia with your business, whatever that is. And let's say you sat down with that problem and Oprah sat down with that problem. Who you think will come out with a solution that works? And it's not because Oprah is so much smarter, although she is a very smart woman, a very wise woman. It is what you are saying to yourself, because the way that she's going to look at the problem is entirely different from the way that you're going to look at the problem. And what controls what she notices versus what you notice is what you're inwardly saying to yourself. You've got to change the conversation in your head, because the conversation in your head is controlling what you even think to do. It's controlling what you notice. It's controlling what occurs to you. And so half of the things that we can't get out of because we're saying the wrong things to ourselves. But when we change that inner conversation, it changes what we notice. It changes what we pay attention to. And all of a sudden, the problem that looked like it had no solution, all of a sudden you know exactly what to do to solve it. So that inner conversation is, I can't overstate the importance of it. How to increase your jar of oil. Prepare, prepare, prepare. One of the things that happens with the widow is that she gets so consumed with the filling of the oil in the vessels that she loses count. And she fills every vessel until she runs out of vessels to fill. And that's the lesson for us. Fill every vessel within you until you run out of places to develop. Is marketing an issue for you? Take a marketing class. Is copywriting an issue for you when you need to write up your language that's on your website and other things that when you're soliciting business? There are resources that are available for you, and your work is to constantly develop, prepare. Pay attention to what Gina, you mentioned the coaching. Pay attention to what other coaches are doing. Most of your business might be offline, but go online and see what executive coaches are doing. What kinds of things are they offering? And then do a comparison. One of the best exercises I had in film school is that we took all of the 7 studios, Disney, Warner Brothers, New Line was one at the time, MGM, Sony, and we lined them up, and we basically listed their business unit, their key business units, right? There was, the film, there was TV, there was a TV station, they listed all the things. And so you could see how they stacked up to one another. You can do that same exercise with the people in your field, where you go and you look on their website and you just start to note what are the things that they have available on their website. Do they have a blog? Do they have a place where they feature themselves in video? What are those things? And then if you look across a spectrum, not just at one person, then you begin to see, okay, here's some areas where I can begin to stack up against the competition. Here's some ways that I can begin to, and the thing is that success leaves clues. And so if the top business coaches are doing those things and you intend to be one of the top business coaches, then you need to be doing those things. So you're constantly preparing and developing yourself and pouring the oil and filling those centers in front of you. And here's the thing, miracles have steps. They always do. But often we only know the next step to take. We don't necessarily have every step that we need to take. We just have the next step that we're supposed to take. And many times we won't take that step because we want to know what the next step after the next step is, and that's just not how it works. Sometimes you got to just take the step that's in front of you. You've got to take your eye off of the end, meaning where it is distracting you, and put it on what is in front of you and do the one thing that is in front of you. When Oprah, and I don't know if it was Oprah, but whoever, but it was her team, when they talked about, what they did to turn OWN around, when they were, they were hemorrhaging money. Remember, there was all the papers, all the, talk queen and is dead. She's just not able to like bring it like she did when she had a talk show. And so someone interviewed her about how they turned the network around, and basically now they're in the black. And she said what they did was they did the next thing that was in front of them. They didn't try to do everything. They just did the next one thing that they needed to do. There's a great book called The One Thing. If somebody could look it up, it's called The One Thing. And what it talks about is exactly that there's only one thing that you need to do next. And so many times we get overwhelmed because we're looking at all the steps that could be taken, but in any moment you can only do one step. So you need to just do the one thing. And with the widow, what's beautiful about this entrepreneur that she is that she did the one thing. She didn't fill a vessel and try to go sell it and then fill a vessel and try to go sell it. She just steady filled the vessels. And she got so consumed with the development. This is why I'm telling you she's got a strong inner game. Because nowhere in the story did it say she left that house and went and did something else. Nowhere in that story did it say she got up and did something. She was so consumed with filling the vessels that she was just pouring the oil, pouring the oil, pouring the oil, pouring the oil. And she said, all right, son, bring me another vessel. And he had to tell her, there's no vessel. There's not another vessel. Thank you. Judy says the one thing. Oh, thank you, Alita, too. Gary Keller is the author. The One Thing, The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results. Great book to have in your library. It's the one thing. Whatever it is to turn your business around, to get you to that next level, there's only one thing that you can do right now. And so your job is to get clear on what that one thing is. That's it. Get clear on that one thing and take the one step that is in front of you. For the widow, the one step that was in front of her was to simply pour the oil in the vessels. And if you can get consumed with the one thing, you'll know when it's time to go to the next thing, because there will be no more vessels to fill. And it'll be time to move to the next step. We don't trust that things will work out. And so we're constantly, there's a motivational speaker that I like, a guy named E.T., Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas, he calls himself E.T. the hip-hop preacher. And he says, you cannot play the game scoreboard watching. You cannot play the game and constantly be looking up at the board, paying attention to the score. You've got to get in the game and stay in the game. If you put your attention on the score, you will lose. Y'all know I was happy about the Warriors. Y'all know I was happy. And one of the things that they interviewed Iguodala, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but the one who won the MVP for the series, for the finals. And they interviewed him about what he thinks made the difference. And he said, well, coach just told us stay in the game. And if you remember that game, they didn't win that particular game against the Cavaliers, but they just stayed in the game. They were down by like 12. And in the last 2 minutes, they closed the gap to like 1 point. And then ultimately, with some fouls and free throws that Cleveland made, Cleveland won by like, I don't know, 4 points or something like that. But the thing is that lesson is stay in the game. Take your eye off of the scoreboard and stay in the game. And that's what the widow does. That's why I say she's an entrepreneur and she's got a strong inner game. Because you don't think the creditors weren't there? The creditors were there. When you're working on yourself, did the creditor stop calling you? I don't think so. So yeah, E.T. Inspires is his website. Thank you, Alita. They didn't stop calling you, so they didn't stop calling her. But she was able to block all of that out. And she was probably scared. That she probably felt some kind of fear, but the fear doesn't go anywhere. The fear never leaves you. What happens is that you stop giving it your attention. Fear doesn't leave. That's not how this thing works. The fear stays there. It's just part of it. But what happens is that you stop giving it your attention, and instead you put it on the preparation. You put it on the development. Stay calm and pour. I wanted to do one of those, the graphics, you know, where they have the stay calm and carry on, or stay calm. I didn't have time. Stay calm and pour. Ignore the fears that come up as you work on the solution. Ignore the fears. Remain at peace and work the solution that you have been given. You've got to ignore the fear. The fear is going to be there. And this woman, if ever there was fear to be had, surely she had it. They're coming to take her sons. She has done all that she knew to do. She has worked this. You know, it's possible that she tried to sell the oil before. It's possible that she tried to sell the oil before and failed, and the jar that she had was the jar that was left. That's possible. We don't know. We don't really have details in her story. But what I'm trying to get you to do is stop making her this broken woman who couldn't take care of herself. She maybe went out. Maybe you went out to the marketplace and you tried to sell what you had, and all you've got left is this one little piece. And so you're afraid to take action on that one little piece, because if that goes, then you don't have any. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do if the jar of oil is gone. So Elisha then giving her instructions is giving her the right strategy. And that's what the I am does for you. It gives you the right strategy for how to handle your business. The I am will give you the right strategy, but you've got to give the I am the right words. I am capable. I am strong. I am able to handle this problem. I am bigger than this problem that is before me right now. I am triumphant. I am victorious. I am wealthy. I am strong. And as you say that, remember, what you say controls what you notice. And so, you know, we want to make the law of attraction this like woo, and it's like, get over that. When you begin to speak the right words, what happens is that you change what you're seeing. So when you say I don't have, then your eyes go looking for what you don't have. But when you say I have, or I am wealth, your eyes then look for, well, where's the wealth? And you begin to train your eyes to see something different so that you can get out of the hole that you're in. You're never stuck. You're simply one thought away from your own victory. Before we learn to master our inner game, our minds can be distracted by any fear that comes up. But once we master that inner game, even though the creditors may be knocking at the door, we might need to sell off a portion of the business or sell the property that we've been struggling to keep out of, foreclosure or stay above water. Whatever that is, that when you master that inner game, then you can weather any storm. And so just to wrap it up, just what we talked about, those 4 ways to increase your jar of oil: concentrate on the solution, expect things to work out, prepare, and stay calm and pour. And so here's my call to action. Choose one of the 4. That's it. Just choose one of the 4 ways to increase your oil and give it 30 minutes a day. Give 30 minutes a day to that step, and then journal your results. Any questions? Any questions? Thank you. Rashi says you make it easy to understand. Thank you, Rashi. Any questions? Any aha moments? Anything that stood out to you? Anything you want me to go back over? I should ask that. All right. Thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate you. And I look forward to next week. So next week we are going to go to verse 7, which is the last verse. Andrea says, my aha moment, stay in the game, don't watch the scoreboard. Yes. Don't watch it. Absolutely. So verse 7 is what we're going to work with next week, which is go sell the oil. Go sell the oil. And I feel like I had something. No, Angela, we're still here. I had something. Oh, if you like this, leave a comment on YouTube. One of the ways that it comes up, meaning that like when people are doing searches, is when there's like comments and stuff below. So if you like this video, if this was helpful to you, leave a comment below in the video and on YouTube, and that will be great. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you for tonight. Thank you everybody for hanging in there. Those of you that have problems, logging in, I'm glad you were able to get in. Angela, I know you were going in and out a little bit, so hopefully we'll get that squared away next week. But thank you, and I release you in the love and the light of the Christ, and I just affirm that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and so it is. Have an absolutely beautiful week, and I'll see you guys next Thursday. Take care.